Have you ever liked someone only to feel like they're pulling away right when things get close? You're not alone. In fact, according to Dr. Laura Berman, when a woman deeply loves you, she might actually ignore you. Sounds confusing. Let's break it down. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating idea. Why some women create distance when they feel love and what it actually means. This is not about playing games. It's about emotional psychology. Number 1. What ignoring? Looks like sometimes it's not obvious. You're texting her, maybe having conversations that feel meaningful, but suddenly things start to change. She replies, but slower. She's not as engaged. Maybe she cancels plans or seems emotionally distant. At first glance, it might feel like she's just not interested anymore, that she's pulling away, or even playing games. But here's the thing. Ignoring doesn't always come from disinterest or manipulation. Sometimes it comes from self-protection. Maybe she's been hurt before. Maybe she's trying to figure out if you're safe emotionally, mentally, even energetically. Her distancing could be her way of testing herself, not you. Trying to stay in control of her own vulnerability. In a world where emotional safety isn't guaranteed, pulling back can feel safer than leaning in. So, before jumping to conclusions, ask yourself, is she ignoring you? Or is she guarding her heart? Number 2, it's not always a game. You've probably heard this line before. She's just testing you. It's a common phrase thrown around in dating advice circles, especially from those who frame relationships as some kind of strategic battle. But in reality, not everything is a test. A lot of what you think is a game is actually emotional self-preservation. Many women have learned, often the hard way, that showing too much interest too soon can lead to disappointment, rejection, or even emotional manipulation. So what looks like hot and cold behavior might just be hesitation. What feels like mixed signals might actually be her managing her own emotions, trying not to fall too fast, or needing more time to feel safe. That's not a game. That's being human. And when you recognize that, when you meet her hesitation with patience instead of pressure, you show maturity. You show understanding. And more often than not, that's what opens the door to something real. Number 3. Dr. Laura Berman's takeover. Laura Berman, a well-respected relationship and intimacy therapist, offers a powerful perspective on why some women emotionally retreat. According to her, pulling back isn't always a sign of disinterest. It can be a survival strategy, especially for women who've experienced heartbreak, betrayal, or emotional trauma. Retreating becomes a learned response. It's a way of staying safe in a world where emotional openness has led to pain in the past. When a woman starts to feel close to someone, her brain might subconsciously associate that intimacy with potential loss, even if there's no actual threat. So, instead of leaning in, she pulls away. It's not coldness, it's protection. It's a coping mechanism. And it's not something she always does intentionally. Understanding this doesn't mean you should chase or push harder. It means you should show empathy, patience, and awareness. When you recognize emotional retreat for what it really is, you stop taking it personally and start creating space for trust to grow. Number 4, fear of vulnerability of the most misunderstood. Dynamics in connection is how deeply vulnerable it feels, not just for men, but for women too, especially when a woman feels something real, something emotionally significant. It can stir up a wave of internal conflict. On the surface, she might seem distant or guarded, but underneath, there's often a deep fear at play. Fear of getting hurt again, of being emotionally abandoned, or even of losing her sense of self in the relationship. These fears aren't always rational, but they're real. For some women, the more intense the emotional connection, the scarier it feels. It threatens the protective walls she's built over time. So she may pull back, not because she doesn't care, but because she cares so much that it overwhelms her. Recognizing this fear of vulnerability allows you to respond not with frustration, but with presence. You don't have to fix it, just don't feed the fear. Show that you're steady. Show that real connection doesn't have to mean danger. And over time, she'll stop retreating, not because she has to, but because she chooses to feel safe with you. Number 5. The attachment systemto really understands some of the more confusing behavior in relationships, like when someone pulls away just as things start to get close. We have to look at something deeper, attachment theory. Your attachment style is the emotional blueprint you carry into relationships, shaped by your earliest experiences with closeness, comfort, and trust. And when it comes to romantic connection, these patterns play out in very real ways. A woman with an anxious attachment style might crave connection, but fear abandonment. So she may act clingy one moment and distant the next, trying to protect herself from rejection before it happens. On the other hand, someone with an avoidant style may genuinely want love, but feel overwhelmed when intimacy gets too close, causing her to pull away, become silent, or emotionally retreat. This push-pull behavior isn't manipulation. It's her nervous system reacting to perceived threat, even if the threat is simply getting close to someone who feels safe. The more aware you become of how attachment styles influence behavior, the less personally you'll take the distance, and the more compassion you'll bring into moments where understanding matters more than control. This isn't about fixing her or labeling her. It's about recognizing that everyone has emotional wiring and being emotionally grounded enough to respond with patience, not pressure. Number 6, emotional overwhelm symptoms. When love is real, when it feels deep and honest and raw, it doesn't create calm. It creates chaos, not because the connection is bad, but because it's so real. It stirs up everything a person thought they had under control. Emotional overwhelm happens when feelings come in faster than someone can process them. For some women, especially those who've been hurt in the past or never felt truly emotionally safe, intense love can be terrifying. So instead of leaning in, she might freeze. She might withdraw or go quiet, not because she doesn't feel something, but because she feels too much. Her mind races. Her heart is conflicted, and instead of leaning into the warmth, she runs to the cold because it feels safer. This is not a reflection of you doing something wrong. It's a sign that the connection has touched something deep, and she doesn't yet know how to hold it. Emotional overwhelm isn't rejection, it's overload, and your response in those moments matters. Staying calm, grounded, and respectful of her space gives her room to regulate, to breathe, to come back on her own. Love doesn't always arrive in neat packages. Sometimes it crashes through walls we forgot we built. And it takes emotional maturity to recognize that freezing is not fear of you. It's fear of finally being seen. Number 7. She's just not into you. Maybe not. There's a phrase you've probably heard 1,000 times. If she wanted to, she would. It's become one of the most quoted lines in modern dating culture. Clean, simple, and brutally direct. But here's the problem. Real life and real emotion aren't always that simple. Sometimes, yes, someone isn't interested and they pull away. That happens. But sometimes she does want to, and she still can't bring herself to move closer. Emotional trauma, especially the kind that stems from past relationships, abuse, betrayal, or abandonment, can create an invisible wall between what someone feels and what they're able to act on. She might feel drawn to you. She might be thinking about you, missing you, or even falling for you. But if her nervous system is wired for survival and not connection, those feelings can trigger fear instead of comfort. She may shut down or distance herself not because she doesn't care, but because she cares so much that it's terrifying. So while the phrase "if she wanted to," she would may sound empowering, it can also be emotionally dismissive. It doesn't account for the silent battles people fight inside themselves, the kind that can't always be seen from the outside. So yes, pay attention to effort. Yes, Honor your own needs. But don't assume that distance always means disinterest. Sometimes it means there's something deeper going on. And if you can see that, you move from reacting to understanding. Number 8. Is it manipulation? Now, this is where emotional intelligence really comes into play, because not all emotional distancing is innocent, and not every push-pull dynamic deserves your patience. It's important to know the difference between emotional caution and emotional manipulation. One is protective, the other is controlling. Emotional caution usually comes from fear. It's quiet, hesitant. It shows up as overthinking, self-protection, needing space to feel safe. It doesn't try to control your emotions, it's just trying to manage its own. Manipulation, on the other hand, is about control. It uses silence, distance, or affection in calculated ways to create confusion, dependency, or power imbalance. If you constantly feel unsure of your worth, if she gives just enough to keep you chasing, or punishes you emotionally when she doesn't get her way, that's not fear, that's a pattern. And recognizing that difference is crucial. Compassion shouldn't blind you to red flags. While it's powerful to give someone room to heal, it's just as powerful to know when your kindness is being exploited. Emotional intelligence isn't just about empathy, it's about discernment. If her distance is about healing, it will feel delicate. If it's about control, it will feel draining. Learn to tell the difference and protect your peace while you protect your heart. Number 9. Not every woman does this. It's really important to understand that the kind of emotional retreat or hesitation we've been talking about isn't something that every woman does in relationships. It's not a universal rule or a predictable pattern that applies to all women. Instead, it depends on a number of deeply personal factors, like her past experiences, her individual personality, and most importantly, how safe she feels in the relationship she's in right now. Some women might have a history filled with heartbreak, betrayal, or trauma that makes opening up feel risky or even dangerous. Others may be naturally more open, trusting, or emotionally expressive and may not retreat in the same way. How secure she feels with you, how consistent and reliable you are, and how well you communicate all play huge roles in whether she can stay emotionally close or needs space to protect herself. So if you notice her pulling back or acting distant at times, it's crucial not to jump to conclusions or blame yourself. This behavior is complex. It's a mixture of her history, her emotional wiring, and her current sense of safety. Knowing that this isn't about you personally, but rather about a mix of factors unique to her, helps you approach the situation with more patience, compassion, and understanding. It allows you to give her the space she needs without feeling rejected or unworthy. And it sets the foundation for a healthier, deeper connection over time. Number 10. Don't chase. Don't panic when someone you care about pulls away emotionally. It can trigger a strong urge to chase after them, to do everything you can to win them back quickly. That urge to panic and over-pursue is totally natural. It comes from a place of fear and insecurity. But the truth is, chasing harder almost never works. In fact, it usually has the opposite effect. When you panic or bombard her with messages, calls, or demands for attention, it often confirms the very fears she's already wrestling with. That getting close is risky, that she might lose control, or that she could get hurt. Instead of feeling safe and drawn in, she feels overwhelmed and pressured, and that makes her retreat even more. The most powerful move you can make in these moments is to stay calm, grounded, and confident. This doesn't mean ignoring her completely or shutting down your feelings. It means respecting her emotional pace, giving her the space to process her feelings, and trusting the connection to grow naturally over time. When you don't panic and don't chase, you send a clear message that you value yourself and aren't desperate for approval. That kind of emotional security is incredibly attractive because it shows maturity, strength, and self-respect. It also creates the space for her to feel safe enough to open up when she's ready. Not because she's being pushed, but because she genuinely wants to. Remember, real connection can't be rushed or forced. It unfolds in its own time, and your steady presence through that process is one of the most powerful things you can offer. Number 11. Be consistent and safe when she's pulling back or feeling guarded. The absolute best thing you can do is stay calm and steady. Emotional inconsistency, like mood swings, hot and cold behavior, or unpredictable reactions, only feeds her fears that opening up will bring pain or chaos. Instead, be someone she can rely on, consistent in your words, actions, and emotional presence. Show her through your behavior that you're not a threat to her heart, but a safe space where she can breathe, relax, and be herself without judgment. This kind of emotional safety is rare and precious, and it's what allows walls to slowly come down. Remember, it's not about rushing or overwhelming her with affection, but quietly proving over time that you're stable, dependable, and patient. When you become that calm, steady presence in her life, you create an environment where trust can naturally grow, even if she's scared or hesitant right now. Number 12, mirror. Don't pressure another key to building connection without. Pushing her away is to mirror her emotional energy rather than trying to force more. If she's giving you space, don't disappear completely. Keep showing up, gently, thoughtfully, without demanding more than she's ready to give. Matching her energy means you meet her where she is emotionally, without playing games or trying to manipulate the situation. It's a delicate balance between giving her room to breathe and staying present enough to remind her you're there. This approach builds trust slowly but surely because it communicates respect for her boundaries and feelings. It shows that you're not trying to control the pace or pressure her into something she's not ready for. Instead, you're willing to walk beside her patiently and authentically. Over time, that kind of balanced, respectful connection breaks down barriers far more effectively than chasing or pushing ever could. Number 13. Small actions matter. It's easy to overlook how much impact the little things have when you're trying to build emotional safety in a relationship. Grand gestures and sweeping promises might grab attention, but they rarely create lasting trust. What truly matters, what really lays the groundwork for a secure connection, are the small, consistent actions you take every day. Sending a simple text just to say, "Hey, I'm thinking of you," or "Hope your day is going well," can mean more than any big declaration. It shows you care enough to reach out without demanding anything in return. Patience is another crucial part of this. Respecting her boundaries when she needs space without pushing or questioning quietly communicates that her feelings and comfort matter to you. It says, "I'm here, but I'm not going to rush you." And that respect, that willingness to honor her pace, builds emotional safety more powerfully than words ever could. Over time, these small acts accumulate and soften resistance. They help create a space where she feels seen, accepted, and secure enough to start opening up. So never underestimate the power of kindness, consistency, and respect in the everyday moments. They're the quiet heroes of connection. Number 14. Validate. Don't accuse when you notice emotional distance. It's natural to want to ask questions, to get clarity, and to close the gap quickly. But how you bring it up makes all the difference between opening the door to honest conversation or accidentally pushing her further away, instead of accusing her or making assumptions, which can create defensiveness and shut down communication. Approach with gentle validation. For example, saying, "I've noticed you've been a bit quieter lately, and I just want to check in. Are you okay?" is a way to gently acknowledge what you're feeling without demanding answers or putting pressure on her to explain herself. This kind of statement says, "I see you, I care about you, and I'm here to listen whenever you're ready." It creates a safe emotional container where she feels respected rather than judged. Validation is about recognizing and honoring her feelings, even if they're difficult or complicated. It's an invitation to share honestly without fear of blame or rejection. This approach fosters deeper trust and makes it easier for her to open up over time. Emotional closeness doesn't happen when one person feels accused or misunderstood. It happens when both people feel safe, heard, and valued. Number 15. Let her heal at her perceive she's pulling away because of past wounds, heartbreak, trauma, or emotional pain. It's important to resist the urge to rush in and try to fix everything for her. Healing isn't a straight path, and it definitely isn't something you can force or control. Sometimes she might move closer one day and pull back the next. That's not a sign she doesn't care. It's a sign she's navigating her own emotional journey in her own time. Your role isn't to solve her pain or push her to open up faster. Instead, it's to hold space for her healing, showing up with patience and understanding. Let her come to you when she's ready, not before. This kind of slow, gentle presence respects her autonomy and builds true trust. When she feels safe to heal at her own pace, your connection will be stronger and more genuine because it's built on respect, not pressure. Remember, love isn't about fixing someone. It's about walking alongside them through their process, no matter how long it takes. Number 16. Love is risky. For everyone, falling in love is one of the most beautiful experiences, but it's also one of the riskiest. Opening your heart means risking pain, vulnerability, and disappointment. This is true for everyone, but especially for someone who's been hurt before. The fear of getting hurt again can make love feel like a double-edged sword, deeply desired, yet terrifying at the same time. When a woman has experienced emotional wounds in the past, that risk feels even heavier. It can make her hesitant to fully trust or open up because she's protecting herself from the possibility of losing herself or being abandoned again. Understanding this risk helps you see that her hesitation isn't rejection, it's protection. It's her way of trying to hold on to safety while balancing the desire for connection. And the most loving thing you can do in this situation is to honor that risk. Show her through your actions and words that you understand how hard it is to be vulnerable and that you're willing to be patient, steady, and kind as she navigates that fear. Love might be risky, but when it's approached with respect and care, it's also deeply worth it. Number 17. Don't romanticize distance. It's easy to fall into the trap of romanticizing emotional distance, thinking it's some sort of sign of deep, mysterious love. Sometimes, when someone pulls away, it can feel like they're just testing the waters, or that their silence means something profound and intense beneath the surface. But the truth is, constant avoidance and prolonged emotional distance aren't signs of genuine care or connection. They're often signs of fear, confusion, or uncertainty. While it's normal for people to need space when they're overwhelmed or unsure, that space shouldn't become a permanent state or a pattern that leaves you in the dark. If someone truly wants you in their life and values the relationship, they will eventually find ways to make that known. They will show up, communicate honestly, and make efforts to bridge the gap. When distance becomes the norm, it's important to recognize that it might not be about love at all. It could be about avoidance or emotional unavailability. Romanticizing this kind of behavior only keeps you stuck in limbo, waiting and hoping for something that may never come. Healthy relationships thrive on presence, mutual effort, and clear communication, not on silence and emotional withdrawal. So if you notice that the distance keeps growing or the signals remain mixed for too long, it's okay and necessary to acknowledge that and protect your own heart. Love deserves clarity, not confusion. Number 18. Final word. Love needs clarity when it comes down to it. Real love doesn't live in a fog of mixed signals or endless silence. Love is built on trust, honesty, and emotional availability. If she loves you and you're truly the right match, the silence won't stretch on forever. There will be moments when she opens up, shares what's on her mind, and shows you who she really is. Giving her space during times of distance is essential. It respects her emotional needs and shows you care about her process. But giving space doesn't mean ignoring your own worth or settling for ongoing uncertainty. Knowing your value means understanding that love should feel safe, nourishing, and reciprocal. It shouldn't leave you feeling confused, anxious, or constantly guessing. If you find yourself caught in a cycle of silence and distance for too long, it's okay to ask for clarity, not to pressure or corner her, but to honor your own emotional health. Sometimes walking away with self-respect is the strongest move you can make because it shows you value yourself and won't settle for less than you deserve. Love is a partnership, a two-way street where both people are willing and present. When that balance exists, love becomes not only real, but also deeply fulfilling and lasting. So hold on to hope, but also hold on to your clarity and self-respect, because that's where true love begins. Thanks for watching. If this helped bring clarity to your situation, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more real talk on relationships. Drop a comment. Have you ever experienced someone pulling away when things got deep? Let's talk.